Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Stock Market Cheat Sheet webinar. I'm Allie Coram along with Rachel Fox on the content team. Now, before we get started, we do just have a quick disclaimer for everyone. And today we are your speakers and we are thrilled to be here. First, want to introduce Rachel because she is a core member of our team, taking on this new newsletter that we have for everyone. So Rachel, would love for you to introduce yourself, talk to us about your role at IBD and how all of that has helped you with this new project that you're taking on.
Yeah, my name's Rachel, everyone, and I'm a markets writer. I've been a markets writer with IBD for a little over 3 years now. So I've just been, writing, stories, stock market today updates, been researching stocks. I've also been part of IBD Live, where I am a panelist once a week. And I've really just been absorbing the really great IBD trading philosophy. And now I've been asked to lead this newsletter called MarketDiem, which, we're all about sort of taking the IBD philosophy and making it more accessible to a wider audience of people, making things, simple, really easy to understand, and giving you actionable trading ideas every day. So that's what we're doing with this.
Exactly. Yeah. And you also host weekly option videos for us. We talk about option trades in the newsletter as well. So we'll dig into all the features. I just want to quickly introduce myself for those of you who don't know. I work closely with Rachel on the content team. I've been with IBD a little over 8 years. I host IBD Live, our stock market today show. Love interviewing traders, industry insiders, company executives, and we have a lot of fun on the content team, really sharing stock market information with everyone. And like you said, because it's information that we care about. This newsletter is like filled with so many great things that we're interested in as well. And so it's just been really fun to have this unique platform to share all of that great stuff with everyone. So let's go over today's agenda here. So we're going to tell you what is MarketDiem, and we'll also go over a recent newsletter that we had, some examples of stocks and option trades that we've covered, and we also will be taking your questions. So first, what is MarketDiem? Well, I guess a little story behind the name. MarketDiem, carpe diem, seize the day. That goes back to that desire for us to provide that actionable nature with the trade ideas or stock lists that we have in the newsletter. We really want investors to seize the trading day and have that information that they can arm themselves with to really tackle the trading day. So that's what we're all about. That's like our mission here with MarketDiem. So every day, this is a newsletter that is going to be delivered to your inbox. And for those of you who are already newsletter subscribers, you will have just received today's newsletter in your inbox right when we started the show. Part of that is I just sent it out. So Rachel is one of our newsletter writers. She's writing it 3 days a week. We have 2 of our other colleagues, also very talented, taking it on 1 day a week each, Alexis Garcia and Michael Larkin. I'm one of the editors of the newsletter. So on Wednesdays, when you get that newsletter from Rachel, I'm, right there. She's doing all the heavy lifting, of course, but we're tag teaming on that. So it's been really fun for me as well to be involved in the newsletter. So you're going to get it every day in your inbox with some market talk at the top. And then this is really, Rachel, what I think is so fun is that this is a very curated newsletter that we have. And so the writers, you primarily, you can pick and choose what it is that you want to talk about each trading day. Can you talk a little bit about the thought process and your approach with choosing what you want to cover in the newsletter each day?
Sure. Well, we like to focus on what is actionable. The reason people come to IBD is, that is our bread and butter. Is we look at actionable trade ideas, and we also talk about, the best way to be positioned in your portfolio for individual investors who are just trying to, make more money in the stock market and learn to manage their own money. So, we talk a lot about, what is actionable. We also try to make sure we cover, what's going on. For example, we talked about Meta in today's newsletter because there's a lot going on with that stock recently. Not that it is actionable, but it's definitely a big name. It's important to people, and it's important to keep on your watch list. So we kind of mix, what's actionable with what is just important to know.
Yeah. And I think the other key piece of that too is just how overall market conditions really tie in to how you should be approaching those potential actionable opportunities. Because as you and I know, Rachel, I mean, not every market is a market that you're going to want to be buying stocks left and right. I think it's great to have ideas, but we really take it to the next level with MarketDiem and provide those insights from our IBD experts about how you should be approaching the overall market and if you should be invested, how invested should you be? Should you be waiting on the sidelines? What important news items, like whether it's Fed news or the CPI report or the midterm elections this week, any potential market moving events that could be coming up that you should be aware of. And this is the key, how you should be positioned in light of what is going on, because I feel like that is really what sets IBD apart and this newsletter apart from others out there that may just cover general stock market news. Is not only that approach to that actionable side of things, but just the general portfolio approach and the plan of attack for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. We give you the cliff notes, the cheat sheet on what's happening that day, and then based on that, how you should be managing your portfolio, not just what stocks, but the really portfolio management aspect of it as well.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's dig in a little deeper. We're gonna, like I said at the beginning, show some examples of stocks and option trades that we've covered, but let's go over what exactly is in MarketDiem in a little bit more detail. We've kind of covered this, but let's explain in more detail what investors are getting when they open up this newsletter every day.
Sure. Yeah. So, as we kind of covered already, we give actionable trade ideas that our team, sort of researches, and we not just with stocks, we also feature, ideas when it comes to different option trades and, what's going on in the crypto world, how are crypto related stocks faring and cryptocurrencies in general. So, we try to cover.
Speaking of, I hate to jump in there, but man, there's a lot of drama going on in crypto land this week. So we've definitely been all over that. And if you haven't read today's newsletter, which, we fill everyone in on what's going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. It's trading at its lowest price since 2020. So there's been Bitcoin has been. So there's been a lot going on. It's very overwhelming. We try to break it down as easily as possible for everyone. So that's sort of the first bit, are these high quality trade ideas. And after that, we also make sure we cover, market trends, what's going on in terms of, is the stock market in an uptrend? Is it uptrend under pressure? Or is it in correction? And is it not a good time for anyone to be buying right now? So, because it's not always the best idea to just be adding stocks to your portfolio. You have to sort of be aware of what's going on, have market awareness, and base your investments on that. So we cover that, every day, what approximately we think is the best way to manage your portfolio. And then finally, we also, get into educational aspects. We want to make sure people are up to speed on the IBD philosophy for trading. So we give you, videos and different little lessons for portfolio management, our take on how to approach a stock chart, our take on how to approach, company fundamentals, and really break it down to make it easy and understandable.
Yeah, and fun too, right? Because why not have actionable trade ideas and market insights and have fun at the same time, right? Like there was a quiz that we did one time. It was like, who am I? A dude who lost his car, early investor in Uber and Airbnb, and married as that 70s show co-star. Anyone out there? Anyone out there? That is Ashton Kutcher. So fun things like that. But I think something even more fun that I've liked that I've seen in the newsletter is getting tweets from traders and curating, what we're seeing out in FinTwit. Of course, we have this amazing think tank with our IBD colleagues that we work with every day, but also that broader FinTwit community and bringing their insights to the table, like David Ryan, who's on IBD Live, who worked very closely with IBD founder Bill O'Neill. And now he's on IBD Live once a week. Every once in a while, he'll send out a tweet on his take on overall market conditions. And we want to share that with our MarketDiem audience. We don't want you to have to go, hunting down on Twitter, trying to find things. We're really serving things up, giving you that cheat sheet once again of everything that you need all in this one newsletter. Because, Rachel, we know people are pressed for time, right? Like, we don't want to have to go hunting all over the World Wide Web to find trade ideas, to find out what's going on with the market, to get these, nuggets of insights from expert traders. So that's what we're doing with this newsletter. It's like, all in one, everything you need for the trading day.
Yeah. And this is our job. So we are watching the market, all day, every day. But for people who are trying to manage their portfolio and have, stuff going on outside of it, this is really just a nice, very clean way to get everything you need to know very quickly and succinctly.
Okay, so going one layer deeper and going through the content that you can expect from MarketDiem. So we can talk about option trades. Fill us in on what's up with that. We've got option trades in this newsletter, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we option trades are if you don't know option trading or you don't know the lingo very well, it can get a little scary, but I do my best to really break it down in a way that's understandable, that covers the basics, and that gives you what you need to know. And breaks these trades down in a way where maybe you could even, if you've never traded them before, you could maybe try them in a virtual account or just start sort of, working with options as a complete beginner. That's sort of the goal of this, is to really make it very simple, but to actually, find strategies that are somewhat complex and, really give you an edge in your portfolio over just buying stock. So we have that. That's not something we feature every day, but several times a week, we'll put that in.
Awesome. Yeah. And in addition to specific trade ideas with what exact strikes and expirations we're using, which we'll show an example here soon, you also have videos that you're doing. So to really help people visualize and put it together, there's videos as well that we do on options, and those are included in the newsletter from time to time, which is awesome. Let's also talk about tricks of the trader. What is that?
That is really the meat of our educational section. We have a bunch of really great videos on the website that go into, our philosophy and, like I was saying earlier, how we approach technical analysis and fundamental analysis. And we include those videos in the newsletter. We'll highlight one that is related to, whatever's going on that day, or, a certain stock trade or something. We'll include some educational piece about it. And, we, like I said, we have technical analysis, we have fundamental analysis videos, and that is really gonna, watching those and reading that section of this is really gonna get you up to speed on, just the basics of, our take on portfolio management and stock picking and all of that.
Yeah. And probably the best way to explain all of the others is to show people. So stock of the day, featured stock, crypto, featured stock list. Let's dive in to a recent newsletter. So that way we can show everyone what we're talking about with all of these other features. So I'm going to switch my screen share here to a recent newsletter from mid-October. So we already talked about the intro. This is really where you're going to get the scoop on what's going on in the market that day, that week, really putting things into perspective, talking about how you should take action, what you should be doing in light of what is going on with the market and all of the newsmakers. We're going to talk about this option trade with SLB, but first we want to start with an interesting featured stock that you covered, Rachel, and that was Netflix. So talk to us about this newsletter section and this example.
Yeah, so this one was important to feature because Netflix had just broken out, traded, I think 14% higher that day on very strong earnings. Everything was looking really positive. It had, I think biggest quarterly jump in subscribers, and earnings were great across the board. But we were saying our take on this was that it's not the best time to just rush and chase the stock higher and add shares to your portfolio right now. And our reasoning was because the stock had been beaten down for so long, and maybe it's turning a corner, but we really want to see if it can hold above a very important price level, the 200-day line. So our advice was just to hold off. It may look really strong right now, but we want to see more strength before confirmation before we really jump into it. And lo and behold, the stock has it had like a nice rise right after earnings, but it has since pulled back, and it has since fallen back below that very important 200-day line, as I mentioned. So that is just an example.
Filled the gap from that earnings report.
Exactly. So yeah, they're really, if you bought, against our advice, if you bought as it had gapped up, you would be at a loss right now. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So great analysis there, Rachel. We don't want to be chasing extended stocks that are in downtrends, coming up against moving averages that could pose resistance, which it was able to get through it, but it's, that's an odds game, right? That's just part of the equation. And seeing the stock giving up all of those gains. So well done, spot on that analysis. And now let's go back to our newsletter to talk about, we'll rewind here a little bit and talk about this SLB option trade. So how to buy SLB stock for a discount. Tell us more, Rachel.
So this was one that we had put on. This newsletter is from mid-October, as you mentioned. And this was when oil prices were kind of beginning to rally again after sort of pulling back over the summer. So there is, a reason to sort of be bullish in this oil and gas sector. So with SLB, we wanted to find an option play that took a bullish point of view on the stock, but that was maybe slightly less bullish than just buying the stock outright. So what, the trade that we decided to put on was a cash secured put. And again, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I break it down in the newsletter, what that means. And I'll do that for you briefly now, but it's just basically you sell a put and then you set aside enough cash to buy the stock if the stock ends up trading below a certain strike price that is with the put option. So basically we want SLB with this trade, you can sort of win in one of two ways. You want the stock to either stay above 40 by December 16th, which would mean that the put that you sold expires worthless and you get to keep the premium that you collected when you sold that put. And if the stock goes back below 40, then you basically get to buy SLB at a discount from when you first initiated the trade. So that's sort of the benefit here with these option plays is there's more than one way to win. And currently SLB is trading very nicely above that $40 price level.
This is the day that we featured it right here. So if you're taking a bullish trade, looks like this was a winning trade. Yeah. So the strike of 40, right? We wanted it to stay above 40.
Yes. And then now the put will basically expire worthless and you get to keep that premium that you collected, which I think was a win of $220 on this trade.
Nice. Okay. Thank you, Rachel, for that explanation. Now let's go back to the newsletter. We're just going to breeze through the rest of it, just so, in case people haven't seen a full newsletter yet that we have, this is a great example. So the RS line blue dot. Here's a stock list here, and you and our other newsletter writers can feature a stock list here. Usually on investors.com, that's a premium feature that we have on investors.com or on MarketSmith for those premium users. They are able to research and find stocks with those RS line blue dots. Well, we are bringing that and hand picking these stocks for your watch list that are usually for those premium high tier subscribers and delivering them to you in this newsletter. So here's a look at some stocks with RS line blue dots. If you don't know what that is, that's the relative strength line, which tracks the S&P 500. If that is hitting a new high as a stock is forming a base or breaking out of a base, it's going to have that blue dot. So Rachel, let's go through a couple of these and show what they're doing now. So again, this was in mid-October. ADM, that one's at the top of the list. So we will start there. The market's taking a hit today. This one pulling in a little bit, but since, let's see, October 19th, the stock has moved up into a buy zone after they're being featured on that blue dot list. What are some other ones that might be good to take a look at?
Well, and for this one, I love the blue dot. It's one of my favorite features of MarketSmith because relative strength in a stock is one of, the key patterns that we look out for because it really shows the stock is outperforming other stocks, in the market. And that sign of strength is exactly what we want to try to capture when we add stocks to our portfolio. So this one was showing that sign before it even broke out, which is a great sign.
Yeah.
And so now it's, now it is trading higher.
Yeah, trading higher since that point. We can also take a look at CMC. This was another one on the list. Had a nice upside reversal right around earnings. And then when we featured the stock, it was trading right here around 42.43. It is now trading at 45. So I guess that was another cool thing about these stocks is not only did they have the blue dots, but it was most of them were featured before they broke out. So it's not like, oh yeah, here the blue dot and these stocks are already up and out of there. These were stocks that were really, shaping up on the right side of their bases, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And this is why it's such a great feature to look out for because it can really show who's in line next for a good breakout. So this is definitely a good list for any investor to keep track of.
Yeah. MRK was another stock featured on the newsletter on the 19th of October. And this one's seen some really strong gains since that time.
Yeah, this one's already now extended from that blue shaded area or the 5% buy zone. So another great example.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the newsletter briefly before we move on. So not only do we give you this premium stock list, we also give that explanation. If you're like, what is a relative strength line? What is a blue dot? We are explaining all of that. And here's how I mentioned a little earlier, some trader tweets from across the web, a curated selection of great market insights from some FinTwit minds there. And we also want to quickly show tricks of the trader module from another newsletter that we had, just so people can see, not only is this in the written format as a newsletter, but as you mentioned, Rachel, we also include videos as well, which are really great because a lot of what we do is so visual.
Yeah, it definitely is. These videos, what we describe in the newsletter is just a small part of really what you need to know about the subject we're covering in the video. So we definitely recommend that you click through and look at the entire video because it's going to go into much more depth as to what it is we're talking about. And for this one, we were talking about something we feature a lot, or a concept that we talk about a lot, which is sector rotation in the market and how that can help you identify what sectors, what industry groups to really be going after at a given time, and which industry groups are sort of now falling back or falling behind.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. I love that we also have this feature in the newsletter as well, because we really do want to make it interactive. We want to make it fun. So yeah, I would love to hear from you, Rachel, too. Like, I think it's so cool that, we have a newsletter that strikes that right balance between, this is serious information that we're talking about, right? Like, we take it very seriously. We know that our audience relies on us to provide them with accurate information. It's about investing their hard-earned money, right? So we want to get that right. We take it very seriously, but we're also personally very passionate about it as well, because I know you and I, like, we're stock market nerds, right? We love this stuff. But it strikes that right balance too of getting to have fun with it. And it's like we're talking to a friend. And so it's approachable, we're having fun with it, but also really aiming to help our friends out there learn a lot along the way.
Yeah, we don't want anyone to have to really strain too much, or be Googling what does this mean or what does that mean. We really want to give you all of that as much as possible. And we want it should be, something that is digestible and, easy, but also gives you really the meat of what's going on, the important stuff of what's going on.
Yes. Okay. And we have one more trade idea that we want to go over. And that's a little higher up in this newsletter. And we talked about Meta earlier. So Facebook parents definitely in the news a lot lately. So we wanted to take a look at an option trade that was all about Meta, because it's had a really tough year. So how can traders maybe take advantage of that with limiting their risk?
Yeah, so with this trade, it was a bearish option trade that was put on, I think it was Monday that we sent this one out. And we were sort of basing it off of just the extreme weakness in the stock. And, here we detail the fundamentals as to why Meta is struggling so much, why it looks like it's going to be struggling for, quite a while. And so the option trade that we put on was called a bear put spread. It's a common spread trade, and expresses, as in the name, expresses a bearish point of view. But what's great about this is, it's risk defined. So when you're shorting a stock, you just have unlimited risk. If the stock goes up, you could lose an unlimited amount based on how far it goes up and how quickly. But with this trade, with this option trade, your maximum loss potential in advance before you even put it on. And, with Meta being so beaten down over so many months, sometimes you see a rapid upside reversal in a stock after it has been beaten down for so long. So, with that in mind, with that risk potential in mind, we said we're going to do a risk-defined trade that is going to aim at it being more bearish, because that's what the fundamentals and technicals are sort of saying, but we're going to limit the risk. So if it does pop, we'll be covered. And this one has, based on all of the news that Meta has been putting out over the past few weeks, this one has been sort of gaining some strength. So even though it is, rising above, I think if the stock closes above 90 a share by December 16th, that would trigger the maximum loss. Even if it does close above that area, you're still
over
covered.
5 weeks. So, well, that's the other thing about choosing the expiration, right? Is it gives you a little bit of time to see it play out. Doesn't mean it's going to guarantee it's going to work, but like you said, your risk is defined here.
Right.
It's not like, if we were going to short this stock outright and we're seeing it at 5% today, the shorts would be kind of feeling the heat there.
Yeah. This one kind of covers your bases a little bit better.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Rachel. That was a lot of fun. We still want to get to some audience questions, but first, I'm going to pass it over to Jonathan Howard with more details for everyone.
If you guys want to take advantage of this or give it a test run, MarketDiem is having a heck of a bargain. It's $5 for the month, $4.99 for the month, or $20 for the year. So this is a very affordable, action-packed idea-packed newsletter. So go to investors.com/webinar offer, or give us a call at 800-831-2525 to try it out. Let's do some Q&A. So a lot of people want to know, what's the time frame of the newsletter? Are these day trades? Are they swing trades? Are they long-term trades? What are we looking at here?
I think it's a mix, right, Rachel? For the option trades, clearly we're looking at different expirations, but IBD's primary philosophy is that of position trading. But I feel like that's where we're really going to roll with the punches with overall market conditions in this 2022 bear market. We've taken that shorter term mindset. So we want to be talking about risk management, taking profits into strength. That's something, right, Rachel, that we've been talking about in the newsletter a lot lately. But what are your thoughts on the sort of time frame that these trade ideas are aimed at?
Yeah, I mean, you covered it. It is a mix. I don't see, I guess the shortest term trades that, we've covered so far are maybe an option trade based on earnings, where that option trade will expire by the end of the week. But in every trade, whether it's option or stock, we do detail, the sort of the time frame for this particular trade that we're highlighting. So we talk about if it's an option with an expiration date, then that is your time frame. Or if it is a stock that we think is very strong fundamentally and is one to be taken very seriously, then we'll let people know this is a position trade. This is something that you want to be in, or that we anticipate will be going up for a while.
Yeah. And then at the other end of the spectrum, those of you out there who are familiar with IBD's long-term leaders list, that is another strategy that our IBD staff has at our disposal. So if we are in the type of market environment where we're seeing stocks with long track records of market outperformance and stellar fundamentals setting up and presenting long-term leader style buy points, I don't see why we wouldn't have either a featured stock or a stock list of long-term leaders. I mean, that's definitely another approach that we have at our disposal as well with the newsletter.
Yes.
Are we going to feature ETFs as well? A lot of questions on ETFs.
I think we should. Yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
I was just going to say, if they're, it's definitely something that we, there's no reason that we're, ruling those out. If there's something actionable in maybe an oil and gas ETF or something like that, then we'll absolutely include it.
Yeah. And I think, in terms of stock lists too, that could be another opportunity that we're looking at sector trades. So like, we're really hot on solar stocks. Well, in addition to looking at some of the solar leaders, maybe we'll also take a look at TAN and provide some perspective on that as well. So definitely, just as the IBD team in our other venues like IBD Live or our other coverage, we're talking about ETFs. We definitely will be bringing that vibe to the newsletter as well.
What about shorting? Do we cover shorting?
I mean, we haven't yet, Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, covered outright shorts, but I mean, that's where options come in, right? So maybe talk about that a little bit. And I have some other thoughts on that too.
Yeah, I mean, we do. So options are, are sort of, or at least personally, my preferred way to take on a short, because shorts come with that unlimited risk. So we cover that through option trades and ways that you can express a bearish point of view with options. But that's not to say that, we've had market conditions earlier this year where it really made sense to take some short positions. And we talk a lot about that on IBD Live. So, if there are those opportunities where a stock is, bumping up against its 50-day line and it's hitting resistance, and it's a great opportunity to short, that is definitely something that, I think we would feature if it made sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that also speaks to really trying to stay in step with the market, because you're absolutely right, Rachel. Earlier on in the bear market, picking your spots, that was the better time to short. Now that this bear market has gone on for the better part of a year now, and we do have news events like the CPI, like the Fed announcement, that make it hard to be aggressive either direction. We have seen some fits and starts versus sustained trends either up or down. So at this time, that does make the shorting equation a little complicated. But I would say, yeah, we're definitely open to featuring those sorts of trade ideas as well, and our team's expert analysis.
Last one, people who are subscribing to IBD Leaderboard or MarketSmith or IBD Digital, what is the value of adding on MarketDiem?
I think this gives you just a little bit of a different take on, what we're doing in those other venues. And this is kind of a one-stop shop. If you just want that cheat sheet, one place where you're going to get our take on the market and some trade ideas with crypto and options and stock lists and tweets from traders that we're curating, or a quiz or education, all in one, without having to go different places to find that different information. This is your great one-stop shop cheat sheet. What do you think, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. That really hits it. It is the Cliff Notes. Within the other products, there's not so much of a focus on options and crypto, and we really give you those and the summaries on what you need to know in those areas. So, and I think that's, we get a lot of people who are interested in those areas more and more. So I think that's sort of the advantage of the newsletter.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for doing such a great job with the newsletter. First of all, it's been so fun for me to work with you on this project. And I know Adelia Lineker, our chief editor of the newsletter, has had a great time with it, as well as our other writers, Alexis and Mike. It's a great team. We're so pumped about this new newsletter. We're having so much fun with it, and we really appreciate all of the awesome feedback that we've gotten on it so far, and the interest. And I see some familiar names in the Q&A, so thank you so much to you all, and the new names, people who I maybe haven't met yet or interacted with. Thank you so much for joining this webinar today. We hope you learned a lot. It was great spending the last 45 minutes or so with you, and thank you. We'll see you back next month, or the IBD team will, next month for our next special monthly webinar. Thanks, everyone. And thanks, Rachel. I didn't give you an opportunity to respond. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Allie.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching Investors Business Daily on YouTube. If you want to watch more videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.